Hello and welcome to New Mexico Rising. My name is Dan. You know, each and every week I try to bring people from across the country to talk to me about cool things we could do right here in New Mexico. On this week's show, I got a special guest sitting next to me. This is Abby Mack. She's a model, she's an actress, she's an entertainer and host, and she's gonna help me out from time to time if I'm sick, on vacation, or just feel like I don't want to do the show. She's gonna fill in and start doing some hosting duties for me, I hope.
Yes.
She also does really cool things in New Mexico, like helping out nonprofits such as the Children's Cancer Fund of New Mexico. What are some cool things you do there?
Right now we're producing a movie starring the kids, and we're also teaching runway and soon DJ classes.
All right, so we're going to hear a little more from Abby a little later in the show because she's going to be doing one of the interviews for me. So let's see how that goes. All that and more right here on New Mexico Rising. This May, as we mark National Stop the Bleed Month, the spotlight is on the essential skills that can mean the difference between life and death. Today, we're joined by George W. Contreras from the American College of Surgeons, here to discuss Stop the Bleed initiative, often referred to as the CPR of bleeding. With their expert insights, we're going to learn why everybody should know these vital techniques and how simple actions can save lives during emergencies. Welcome to the show, George. How are you, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, so what is the Stop the Bleed program?
So Stop the Bleed is a global campaign by the American College of Surgeons that is really geared to empower and train laypersons on what they can do during emergencies and there is a severe bleeding wound. The information is really important for everybody to know because trauma is one of the major causes of a preventable death. And if people just learned what they can do, they might be able to actually save a life.
So what are some common situations in everyday life that stop the bleed techniques could be used and help save a life?
So if you just take a moment and think about what can actually cause an injury. You can be at home, you can be at work, you can be driving. So the types of injuries are really so many. You can be working on your yard, using a chainsaw and something goes wrong, you cut your leg, you cut your arm. You can be in the kitchen using a knife or fall on top of a table, a glass table, and now you have an injury. So really, you can really have an injury from any type of source. You can be driving your vehicle, or you could be struck by a vehicle, and now you have an injury that has severe bleeding. So there's so many causes. The key thing to remember is regardless of the cause, the thing to think about is you have an injury, and you have severe bleeding, and if you don't stop that bleeding, that person's going to literally bleed to death within a few minutes.
So what are some basic steps someone should follow to stop severe bleeding?
So the first thing to remember is make sure the scene is safe before you render assistance. Also make sure that you have called for professional assistance by calling your emergency number, which in most cases will be 911. The 3 steps to actually take regarding an injury which has severe bleeding is 1, put direct pressure on the injury or the wound. 2, if the wound is deep or too large, pack the wound with material that you may have, whether it's gauze or a t-shirt or something. But the point is you want to pack that wound and put pressure on it. And then the 3rd step is if you have a tourniquet available, apply a tourniquet 2 or 3 inches above the wound. As you can see, all these 3 steps, the main goal is to stop that person from losing vital blood so that they don't die.
So how does Stop the Bleed training differ from some of the other first aid programs that are out there?
So a couple of things that make it unique is that it really assumes no prior medical knowledge. All right, so anybody can learn what to do. It's done in a very basic, friendly format. The course is relatively short. In about an hour, you can learn the theory and the skills of what you need to do. If you happen to be on the scene when something happens, or you happen to be the first one on the scene until professional help arrives. So those 2 things really make it stand out because we do not assume that you have any prior medical knowledge. We explain the terms and the concepts in ways that are very straightforward and easy to understand.
All right, George, thank you for joining me this morning. Where can we go and find a program in our local area so that we can receive one of these Stop the Bleed kits?
Sure. So for more information in English or Spanish, you can go to stopthebleed.org/save a life, and you will find more information on course locations and how to obtain a Stop the Bleed kit.
George, thank you for joining me this morning.
Take care.
Millions struggle with depression, but what happens when standard treatments just fall short? Today, Dr. Abid Nazeer, Chief Medical Officer at Hope Mark Health, and his parents, Karen, join us to explore the realities of treatment-resistant depression. They're here to discuss the critical signs and symptoms, and Karen is here to share her personal journey through this challenging condition. Welcome to the show, you two.
Thank you.
Dr. Nazeer, can you tell us about the signs and symptoms of clinical depression and how common is it?
Yeah, so clinical depression, or what we would call major depressive disorder, it's a condition where you have a predominantly sad mood or a loss of just pleasure from your daily activities. But it goes beyond that. There's other associated symptoms, such as changes in sleep, changes in concentration, energy level, appetite. At times, it can become even more severe, where you have thoughts of suicide, thoughts of not wanting to live. When all these symptoms are together and impact your ability day to day to just function and carry out your daily activities, that's when we would call this major depression. Super common. It's 1 in 10 adults in the United States have been diagnosed with major depressive disorder.
So what is treatment-resistant depression, and what are the available treatment options?
So treatment-resistant depression, it's basically a descriptor, a classification of depression in where somebody has been prescribed 2 oral antidepressants and has not responded. They haven't found the relief that from those medication trials. Then we would call that treatment-resistant depression. Maybe about 1 in 3 patients with major depression would be considered treatment-resistant. There's classic antidepressants that have been out for a long time available for this and other treatment options. But there is actually a specific medication. It's kind of why I'm here, partnered with Johnson & Johnson, to really raise awareness on this treatment option. It's called Spravato C3 nasal spray. It is for treatment-resistant depression. So you tried and got no response to antidepressants, and you're on an oral antidepressant already, and then you add Spravato to that, and you get that treatment in a certified treatment center, so they can monitor you for the risks, side effects, and all of that during the treatment. So that is a specific medication approved for treatment-resistant depression.
And Karen, can you tell us about your experience with treatment-resistant depression?
I started experiencing symptoms of depression. I mean, I didn't want to stay depressed. Everybody was like, just shake it off. But honestly, that's where I started seeking the help of Dr. Nazeer, and he prescribed antidepressants, and we modulated as needed, healthy lifestyle, of course. But then there was a specific point in my life where I was having a very difficult time, and my antidepressants stopped working for me. I plateaued. There was no relief from my already medicated prescribed medications, and so that was very frustrating. I was very confused with what was going on because it felt like I was already doing all the right things. So it was very, very confusing and frustrating. But once Dr. Nazeer found an opportunity for an alternative treatment to add on to my already existing treatments and medications, I finally got the relief that I needed.
And Dr. Nazeer, how can people help a loved one who has treatment-resistant depression or is struggling to help find the right treatment for them?
Yeah, so if you have a loved one with depression, or even yourself are struggling, first thing to do is reach out for help with a healthcare practitioner. So if you have a psychiatrist, reach out to your psychiatrist. If not, maybe your primary care physician, a therapist, but definitely approach a healthcare practitioner for guidance. If you've tried and failed, tried 2 antidepressant trials especially, you might want to see if Spravato could be an option for you. But if you're in more immediate crisis, you can always do a phone call or text to the Suicide Crisis Lifeline at by calling or texting 988, or actually starting to learn about Spravato, go to spravato.com.
Thank you, too, for joining me.
Thank you.
In the latest chapter of the beloved sci-fi saga, tensions rise and futures are pretty much forged. Today we're joined by Freya Allen, who stars as May in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. From challenging power dynamics to embarking on journeys that question the very fabric of society, Freya's here to kind of share the world of apes that rule and humans linger in the margins. Welcome to the show, Freya. How are you, my friend?
I am good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Planet of the Apes is a series that I've been a big fan of, all of them, every single one pretty much. Can you share with us like how you approach developing the character of May? What aspects of her personality or story kind of resonated with you the most?
I mean, I basically did what I usually do, which is come up with a backstory. I was rereading the script, and every time I kept coming up with new questions. I had a whole list, and so I would go and nag the producers and Wes for answers, and a lot of those answers we actually came up with together, because there were certain personal elements of her backstory that weren't figured out, and so that kind of gave me the freedom to figure that out and create that myself, which was what really kind of rooted me when shooting began, because I had all of these personal stories to sort of anchor me and give more than just what was on the page to this character.
And you have to work with a lot of practical effects mixed with CGI. How did these elements influence your performance?
Well, I mean, we were lucky to actually be able to go on location for the majority of the shoot. So I feel like it's always the best when you actually get to be, on the real, like in the real thing, out in the wilderness, and a lot of that, some of that work is done for you then, because you can just take a moment to look into the distance and just like really believe that you're there. So that was amazing, and I think a lot of people think that we did a lot of like green screen stuff on this, but we really didn't. We were on location constantly.
And every role pretty much presents its own challenges. What are some of the most demanding scenes for you to shoot, and what made those particularly challenging?
I would say one of the most. There's two physically demanding. The human hunt, and then there's a sequence with the water that I'm in, and they were physically draining, but in the best way. I mean, I love doing all that stuff. I find it really exciting, but I definitely went home with a lot of bruises, and then emotionally, it was probably the one of the last scenes of the movie between May and Noah, because we were shooting that was my second scene, I think, and so starting with the end of the film was quite stressful, but we got through it, and it's a lovely scene. So, but that was demanding.
Freya Allen, thanks for joining me this morning. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is now in theaters, and you can check that out in theaters in both IMAX and regular screenings. Thank you for joining me, Freya.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Welcome back to New Mexico Rising. Today we got a special guest. His name is Marcus Moqueño. Well, welcome to the show, my friend.
How you doing?
He's an artist, and he does art that kind of goes beyond what you've seen in Santa Fe. What type of art do you do, or what do you consider your art?
I like to do everything outside the box. Basically, I take my designs. I get my inspiration from my grandfather. His name was Frank Pojico. He was an artist. He painted mainly gourds, ceramics. So I take some of the Hopi and Pueblo designs, and I kind of mix them up, and then throw them onto a canvas in a style that I like to do my own. I do these. These are going to be the first 4 that we're coming out with this year. I also do canvas tennis shoes. So the paint that I use for my canvas tennis shoes are made for shoes. They're guaranteed not to crack, peel, or fade. I love to always do my designs asymmetrical, and so the right and the left are always different. So I never duplicate my designs, so they're always one of a kind.
So you kind of use the asymmetrical balance to make the balance work a little bit for you.
Well, you got to think about it. It's like life, you know what I mean? Nothing is symmetrical, really. You know, nothing's really in order. The way that I've lived my life, you know, it's been a lot of ups and downs, you know, started off rough. This is the good part, you know. It's the part where, you know, we have a lot of growth, you know, a lot of success. You know, before 5 years prior to this, I wasn't the person that's sitting here today, you know. I recently had my 5-year anniversary of being alcohol-free, you know, back on April 27th, which is my grandfather's birthday as well.
Well, congratulations on that.
Yeah, man, this is kind of where this whole art thing started. I put down the bottle and picked up the paintbrush, and, you know, I love it.
Can you walk us through a little bit of that creative process? Like, what gets you started? How do you begin with just like a blank slate, and how do you start putting some of your designs onto the frame and make it go from there?
So what usually happens is it seems to like pop in my head before I even get a chance to even touch the canvas. I usually start with one corner of the canvas and really, you know, I draw my stuff out. I like the way it flows. I have more of a feeling, more of anything than everything, really. Like my large canvas that I have that's going to be showcasing in the La Fonda Hotel during Indian Market. I actually won a second place ribbon in the State Fair for that. I entered it last year, yeah. That one was the largest piece that I've ever worked on. It's a 60 by 48. I actually had to build a easel big enough for it to sit on because I didn't have anything for it to sit on. And I did that whole piece outside of my house. I had to build I put up the canopy, so when it was raining and stuff like that, I was still working out there.
Wow.
I actually have a couple of videos on my Instagram. You can see the Instagram. It's at Mokinos Touch 87. There's videos of when I built the easel and then also when I was painting. That piece right there, I had already seen it in my head before it even existed, and I knew what I was going to do with it. Yeah.
Well, I love the canvas work that you're doing, and it's interesting that you're bringing it to shoes. What brought you to doing it onto like shoes?
So what ended up happening is my wife, she had bought some shoes, some canvas shoes. They were plain white, and you know, I was like, I don't know why you always get white shoes. I said they never stay clean. Within a couple of days, they were, you know, dirty. So I was like, let me try painting those. Let me just try it. So I was using just regular latex paint. You know, you buy it, you know, Hobby Lobby, and they came out really well. And so what she did is she posted them to Facebook. As soon as she posted them to Facebook, she started getting hits. Boom.
Oh, wow.
Where can I get a pair? Where can I get a pair? And I'm like, shoot. It's like, I think we might have to start doing this. And I was like, all right. So the first thing I did was start researching the shoe paints. Like, so I was looking into, it's called Angelus paint. What they do is it's mainly used for like redoing like Jordans and stuff like that. Okay. But it's opened up a whole different world to different artists that do different types of shoes and customs. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I could do that. And the thing about it is my designs are unforgettable and I never duplicate them. So, you know, when they say they're one of a kind, they're truly one of a kind. Yeah. You know, I got 2 pairs actually in France. Oh, wow. I actually got a pair in Tahiti. So, yeah, they're out there stepping around as well.
I love it.
Yeah.
Sounds great. So if anybody wants a pair of shoes, can they get them for you, or are these exclusive just to...
So this pair right here is a gift for you.
Oh, well, thank you, man. Yeah, so I love this style. Matches the room that we're in right now. Yeah. This is everything I love. This is great. It's gorgeous, man.
Yeah, but I do take orders. I do take commissions. But the thing is, I just charge for the art. So when I first started, I was encountering problems like with shoe sizes. I would buy the shoes, and when I would send them out, they'd be too big or they'd be too small. So then I would ask, you know, send them back, and I'll do another pair for you. So that's a whole nother process, like a whole nother order. So, you know, so I got the idea is like if you buy the shoe that you like, so it also gives you the opportunity to choose whether you want canvas or leather. Okay. You know, or if you want to go on the high end or the cheaper end, it's up to you.
Where can we go for more information? Follow you on Instagram and Facebook and all that? Where can we look it up?
Yeah, I got on Facebook, we're just under Mokinos Touch. On Instagram, we're Mokinos Touch 87. You can hit me up on Messenger or on Instagram. Either way, follow, like, everything. you know, it helps us out.
And if you want to check him out, he's going to be at the La Fonda on the Plaza at the Lumpkins Ballroom and Mezzanine. It's going to be August 16th through Sunday 18th from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. for the Sovereign Santa Fe event. So check that out. That's August 16th through Sunday the 18th from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And it's a free event. So go by, check it out, and show some love for Marcus here. So
Yeah, not only during that time will we be in the La Fonda, but I'll have a piece in Fahrenheit Art Gallery as well. And then we will also be having a booth set up at the Free Indian Market. Come check us out.
Marcus, thanks for hanging out with me today, right?
No, thank you for having me.
Thanks, man.
Today, it's all about skincare, especially as the weather heats up. We have Dr. Jenny Liu here, a certified dermatologist with tips for staying fresh with whole body deodorant and summer skincare essentials. Welcome, Dr. Liu.
Thank you so much for having me.
Why is it important to have a skincare routine for your body, especially in the summer?
Yeah, it is really important that we change our skincare with the season. In the summertime, many of us are very well versed with dry skin in the winter, but our skin can actually get easily dry and irritated in the summer as well. Reasons being, we're going from really hot weather into the chilly AC that can cause skin dryness and irritation. Plus, we're spending more time in chlorinated pools, and we know that chlorine can strip our skin's natural oil. And so we really want to adapt our skincare routine to keep our skin healthy. And I usually recommend to my patients gentle cleansing to remove all the debris, immediately moisturizing, and then looking for deodorants that can stop odor at its source. So that way you can feel fresh all day long during the summertime.
With summer right around the corner, why are the warmer months a good time to update our body care routines?
Yeah, it's a good time because number one, with the heat and humidity, many of us do struggle more with body odor, and we require different types of care. So adjusting our personal skincare routine to help us with these needs so that way we can stay fresh and odor free. It's also a good reminder, like spring cleaning. I always tell people it's a good time not only to clean our house, but go through our skincare products as well, toss out anything that's old, not using, and expired.
With backyard barbecues and county fairs, how can we ensure that body odor doesn't get in our way this summer?
Yeah, so first and foremost, body odor, we all probably struggle with it, is 100% normal and definitely expected with the warmer weather. And if you're looking for a solution, I highly recommend Secret Whole Body Deodorant, made for whole body use, including the intimate and private areas for external use only. It comes in 3 unique formulations, from spray to stick to cream, tested by a dermatologist and gynecologist. So you have 3 different unique formulations that you can pick depending on your needs. I love that it provides up to 72-hour odor protection, which is pretty amazing. So that way we can stay fresh during those county fairs, state fairs, and outdoor barbecues, right?
Right. And this is the first time I'm hearing about it. So what is the benefit of whole body deodorant?
Yeah, I love the fact that whole body deodorant addresses odor beyond just the underarms. We know that with body odor, it is due to bacteria that we all have on our skin and the way this bacteria interacts with sweat, which obviously most of us sweat more during the warmer months, and certain parts of our body, right? Not just the underarms, but also under our breasts, thighs, groin folds. These areas can struggle more with body odor, and Secret Whole Body Deodorant really caters to those needs in a gentle yet effective way, even suitable for sensitive skin, and really tackles odor before they start. And it's done so free of aluminum, baking soda, parabens, and phthalates.
Sounds great. Where can we go for more information?
You can learn more about Secret Whole Body Deodorant at secret.com.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Dr. Liu.
Thank you so much for having me.
Today we dive into a world where apes dominate and humans struggle in the shadows. Owen Teague and Kevin Durant are joining us from Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Owen plays Noah, a young ape on a mission that could alter their world, and Kevin portrays Proximus Caesar, a leader with a vision that could pretty much change everything. So let's welcome to the show Owen Teague and Kevin Durant. How you guys going, man?
How you doing? Doing great.
You got to pinch yourself, man. It's Planet of the Apes. You're in the roles. How do you feel, man?
Honored.
Wild. Yeah.
Honored. Yeah.
Huge honor.
Like I said, I mean, we're still pinching ourselves. Even. I mean, we got to go to ape school for 6 weeks. became these apes, found our characters through this process, shot the most incredible movie, got lost.
Made these incredible connections with each other, with the cast, with Wes, the director, both as humans and as apes.
Yes, and then went away for a year while they
Weta team
Weta went to work with Wes and then saw the final product, and I mean, I remember
stunning.
It's so stunning.
It's insane.
I was in tears.
So Noah's portrayed as like a young ape caught between his past and the future of his species. Owen, how did you prepare to portray such like a complex character?
I mean, the way that you approach any complicated character, you figure out, you know, where he's coming from, his life, you know, up until that point, and his point of view on everything, and you know, make sure that you have a really clear sort of map for when he's learning new things and how those things are affecting him emotionally and intellectually. You know, a lot of this story is, you know, Noah's kind of quest to save his family and his people, and also to come into himself as an adult.
And Kevin, you've done everything from Little John to the Angel Gabriel. Now you step in the role of Proxima Caesar. He's kind of the leader in Planet of the Apes. What kind of aspects of his personality were most challenging to embody?
He was just so fascinated by them, the way that we're fascinated by apes. And he learned about human nature and realized that by no means could he allow humans to become the apex of power, because chances are they would end up in cages again. Apes would end up in cages. They'd end up being experimented on. We'd be treated as lesser than again, because humans seem to not be able to. Humans can't even get along with each other over the smallest misinterpretations of words, and he was just like, humans are dangerous. So he thought that he could do a better job.
Yeah, I've tried to order a pizza with some coworkers and have to decide what to order, and that was hell. That was a living hell. Owen Teague, Kevin Durant, thanks for joining me this morning. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, it is available in theaters now. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
That's it for New Mexico Rising. I want to thank you for tuning in and checking out the show. Abby, thank you for hanging out with me.
Thanks for having me.
And if you want to go to our website, that is newmexicorising.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram. Just look up New Mexico Rising TV. Until next week, that was the show we like to call
New Mexico Rising.